Welcome to the most important podcast you are listening to right now. The A Show with April Hunter and Aron Stevens.
Welcome. We got truth in our heartbeat. Our veins are pumping gasoline. We've been keeping this conversation going since we busted on the scene with the A Show. And of course, the A Show refers to April Hunter. I am A to the Ron. And we're live now.
I am A to the Hunter, I guess.
Yeah.
So how are you doing this week?
I'm good. You know what? It's funny. We both had the pre-conversation of how this week has just been kind of crazy for all of us. And, you know, of course, with the world of current events and everything else, I think that is resonating, not just with our lives, but with everything going on right now. And but you know what? There's the collective, and then there's the individual, and we talk about it all here. So let's I know the first thing, we can just kick this off. I figured we'll just come right out of the gate with this. You said to remind you, so I'm going to remind you, and then I'll probably be shutting up for the next several minutes because this is actually really poignant and it was awesome, but I'm just going to say it.
Oh, you want to go right to that?
Joe Biden.
It was Jill Biden.
Jill.
It's hard to tell the difference between Jill and Joe. Right? Yeah, you did say Jill.
Oh, yeah, I thought you said Joe yesterday. I was like, wait a minute.
I know. Well, Jill, Joe. I mean, it's like, You know what I mean? It sounds familiar. Okay.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, not COVID. Okay, so I was on Twitter and I saw a hashtag. It said millennia. And on there, believe it or not, there were people trashing Jill Biden. Jill, this is all about Jill, for wearing fishnet stockings, fishnet pantyhose with her outfit, which incidentally, she rocked them. And then there were people turning to defend her, turning on Millennia and saying, well, at least she wasn't a tramp like Millennia. At least she wasn't a porn star. At least she wasn't getting naked. At least she wasn't wearing an I don't care jacket. And I wanted to address all of that for a minute. Now, I'll be honest, there's no love in my heart really for the Trumps, but I am a moderate, and I do like to look at the big picture here, and I am a female, and there are some issues with this that I have. So first off, misogynist does not limit itself to men. There is nothing worse than a misogynist female. And the majority of these comments I was seeing were from women. So when women want to bitch and complain and Me Too and all this other stuff about equal rights and how they want to be treated, how in the blue fuck do they think it's okay to rip on other women about what they're wearing, what they're doing? It's not okay. It's not. And pit them against each other. Like, this is not okay in society. So even if it's on a level of Jill Biden and Melania Trump, so you can't do that. You can't. So if you want to be treated equally, act equal. Man up. Because when was the last time you heard a man rip apart another man for what he was wearing? Think hard. Oh, sorry. A straight man. Because quite honestly, this is so tiring and we will never get ahead as females if you keep attacking each other over the dumbest shit. And it drives me nuts. And this is misogyny. And there's nothing worse than seeing women do this to each other. So you take somebody like Melania, who, I would imagine at some point, no matter what you do, you're going to get ripped down to shreds, even if you're doing the right thing. So my interpretation of her wearing that jacket, I don't care, was that she was going to a place to do something good, apparently. Now, I don't know the whole entire story, but I'm going to interpret it the way I would, as somebody who does not appreciate that kind of thing and what I would do as a rebel. And the abuse and comments that she's had to endure knowing that it was going to be covered by the press, knowing that people were going to be judging. I don't care was probably more socially acceptable than go fuck yourself. So she probably wore the jacket with a message to the people rather than I don't care about the kids in these camps
So
and the
the
people,
press, like, right, like the
the
press
press.
and the
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm thinking that was a direct message to the people that have their comments and write their stuff.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, there were things that the Trumps did, either of them, that they weren't all bad. No one's all bad. It's all shades of gray. And just because they did it or they said it, even if it was correct, even if it was good, it was still torn apart.
Mm.
It was still
Yeah,
torn
yeah.
apart. And it happened with Obama and it's happening with Joe Biden. It doesn't matter. So it's a thankless job being the president of the United States.
No, it really
So
is, yeah.
after a while, that has to wear on you.
Mhm.
And different first ladies handle it differently. And I'll be honest, as a centerfold and pinup model, I was disappointed that she didn't do more. I don't think that
Millennia, you're talking about. Yeah.
Melania, yeah. I don't think she did porn. In my opinion, being naked and being a centerfold, especially in Europe, where everybody is naked. I mean, deodorant commercials are nude. This is not a porn thing. This is an erotica thing. Unless porn is defined, it's technically defined as insertion and or bodily fluids. Everything else is just erotica. And if someone's trying to define porn with an intent to turn on, you cannot because different people are turned on by different things. Some people like feet, some people like armpits, some people like long red hair. Trust me, I know. So, what's one person's thing is another person's whatever. So, porn is defined as insertion, body fluids. That's it. Everything else is erotica. Millennia was not a porn star. Whatever she was or was not, whatever was going on with them, there are very few people in that inner circle that actually know the truth. And for us to judge is ridiculous. We don't know.
Mm.
So to sit back and be so harsh and so sure and so vocal about things and then pit women against each other is just so disappointing. It's so disappointing. And the fact that we keep doing this
Mm.
and then we keep asking for equal rights and we keep doing the Me Too thing. Now, if a man was saying what some of these women are saying, if a man is saying, oh, Melania's a Trump, Melania's a tramp, she looks like a whore, she's a whore, she slept her way to the top, she got her green card by marrying this dude, Jill Biden looks like a whore with those pantyhose. Men would be slaughtered for saying that, but a woman can say that? Come on,
Well, you
seriously.
know what? I think it's also like, it's a case of and, the double standard exists, in different ways on both sides of the coin, on male and female, to where, like, back a few years ago, like, oh, it was if and even now to this day, like, if a male goes and decides to have relations with, multiple women,
Mhm.
he's considered, "Oh, yeah, you're a stud." But if a female does it, the quite the opposite
Slut
reaction.
shame. Right.
Yeah, and, like, why is that? Like, how is that even a thing? Is it just, again, the double standard existing on a number of different, levels in a number of different ways for, both male and female.
Well, it's interesting to me because the man who is having relations with multiple women aren't these women in the same position as the man? Like the man that is cheating, who is he cheating with? I mean,
Mhm,
men and women, I mean, women aren't, I don't think women are geared to cheat for the same reason that men do,
mm,
but we probably cheat just as much.
mm,
We're just not, I don't think we're biologically engineered to cheat because it's go forth and sow your seed like men
mhm,
are. We're engineered to cheat if we're not getting our emotional needs satisfied.
mm, mhm,
So we go look elsewhere. I believe
mhm.
there's more to it than that, but that's the nutshell version.
Yeah,
So if we're
yeah,
not being taken care of,
mm,
somebody else will. If you're not taking care of
yeah,
your woman, somebody else will.
yeah,
So that's usually
yeah,
how that works.
hmm,
Um, but another thing this brings up to me, and this pisses me off, and I don't want to dwell on it too long, but the very people, again, hypocrisy, the very people who are the first ones to speak out about bullying are the ones that are bullying, because this is a form of bullying. When you're picking on what someone's wearing, what they're doing, how they're doing it,
Mm-hmm.
you're a fucking bully. I'm sorry,
Yep.
but you are. So if
Yep.
you're sitting there behind a keyboard, I think she looks like a whore, you're a bully. I think she should go back to where she came from. I think she should da da da. And let me tell you something else. What is the difference between targeting an elected official or someone who's autistic? Why is it okay to leave the autistic kid alone who's sitting in the corner? That's bad. We have to wear a wristband for that. That's the autism awareness. But we could all go after this person and that person. How is that morally okay? How do we justify that? That this person's all right and that person's not, because this person's not elected, still a human being.
True, it's still a human being, but I think with the elected officials is that we just like the way that in the United States, like our pretty much government is structured, like they work for us supposedly. Um, you
These are
know,
their
we
wives.
yeah. Oh, yeah, but no, what I'm saying, like with an elected official, right? Like we pay their salary with our
Right.
taxes, and like we expect them to adhere to a certain standard. So when you said elected officials, I do think that there is some degree of yes, we can scrutinize them. I mean, if they are embarrassing our country, if they're embarrassing our city, if
Yes.
they're making the wrong decisions, I mean that's part of freedom. We have to speak up too. Now, as far as the family goes, that's where I think you have to draw the line because why
Yeah.
would you, you know, if someone goes out and um gets in a drunk driving accident, right?
Hmm.
You don't take their wives or girlfriends licenses away,
Right.
right? 'Cause it was their fault. So I think like with the elected excuse me, not COVID, with the elected officials, um I think it's again, it needs to stop at them. Direct your scrutiny, I mean, whatever, tastefully, hopefully, to the elected official, but then you need to leave their families out of it. How they work, like, no, that's, in that sense, I agree 100% with what you're saying. Because you were talking about just the wives, right? Not the actual officials,
No,
like
I'm
the
talking
wives
about
and
the wives.
husbands,
I'm
not
talking
the,
about the kids. I'm talking about
no, the whole family, right?
the personal things. Like our elected officials are elected to do a job. They're not elected to wear a certain thing
Mhm,
or keep their
mhm,
ass a certain size. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like they're not.
yeah,
i-
yeah.
i- Yeah, yeah. So that's my issue. I think that we really need to stop being hypocritical. Hypocritical. We really need to look at our morals and values and stop saying, "Oh, it's okay to attack this person, but not this person." It's not. It's not okay.
Yeah.
Just like
Leave
it's
the
not okay. Yeah, we separate. We steal stuff on the internet, but that we wouldn't steal in a store. These are still stores on the internet. You're still stealing. If you're
mm,
stealing music, if you're stealing from a model's website, if you're stealing content, you're a thief. Period. End. You are stealing someone's content, someone's artistic integrity, something that they did blood, sweat, and tears that they put out. You're stealing it. It's just like going to a mom and pop shop and taking something off the shelf. It's
wow.
no different. So women attacking women and trying to fall into getting manipulated in that divide and conquer thing, they're misogynistic and they need to man up if they want to have equal rights. Act fucking equally. Act
Mm,
decent. Be decent.
mm,
You
wow.
keep acting petty, you're going to be treated petty. You're going to be paid less. You're going to be looked down upon, and if you pick on someone's appearance, you're putting your opinion is that their value is their
Mm,
appearance. You're saying that what they
mhm,
do, that what they're wearing and what they do is who they are, and that's not
mm,
true. Women can wear and
mhm.
do whatever they want. Doesn't mean that's what they are or who they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow.
So we have seen porn stars running for office. We have seen them running businesses that rival, $1 million businesses. We have seen former alcoholics. I mean, look at the rescues that have come from that pit bull rescue that has been built solely on former inmates and alcoholics. I mean,
Mhm,
we have seen people that have proven time and time again that what you do, what you wear, is not who you are.
mhm. No, and yeah, absolutely. Like I think we have to have those boundaries. We have to have, you know, just again, like a sense of decency as a society, and that goes for our media too. We're just, okay, elected official, fine. Family and a love, no, leave them out of it. And again, because what a lot of people are doing, and not just mass media outlets, but this is online, socially, social media, Twitter and Instagram, and everywhere where you claim to subscribe to a particular ideology, one of acceptance and everything, yet
Yeah.
you are going after people using the same means that you're trying to say is not okay. So that's, yeah, it's really interesting. But you know what? It's funny. Speaking of boundaries, we also had the conversation this week of you know boundaries in life, like having boundaries as an individual, because there's a like and again we said there's the collective and then the individual. So like on an individual standpoint, um I think we all need to be aware that if we don't set boundaries in life, um bad stuff can happen. And I know I I guilty as charged.
What bad stuff has happened to you?
Yeah, but in by bad stuff, it's not not like the ceiling collapses or anything, but um
Just
no.
feels like it. It feels like it.
Yes, yes. Bad stuff in that, like, so I have a tendency. This is again a little bit more of me, to
Mhm.
be bearing my soul to the whole interweb here, um, because April jokes like I am a very very private person, and so like every week since we're doing the show, I'm trying to like put a little bit more of myself out there. So um, I have a very hard time saying no. If someone asks me to help, I guess I have this kind of innate predisposition to say, "Oh yeah,
People
yes, yes,
please. People
yes,
please.
yeah." I'm a people pleaser, and maybe that's why with wrestling I am the way I am, because it's like I just feel it's, and I think I have to make everyone in here happy with the performance. So that's maybe, I mean, maybe that translates to good, but in my day to day, I've learned I've needed to set boundaries and kind of you know assert myself in that what is okay and what is not okay in terms of me giving my time to other people. So
Okay. Yeah, I'm telling you, the word no can be your savior.
mhm,
It took a long time to learn that. I also realized that when people ask for favors, they actually expect you to say no, and they're surprised when you don't.
mm,
So,
yeah,
no, no is very powerful. That goes into the what I wish I knew when I was
mhm,
younger
yeah,
category.
yeah. Well, I've said no to like even acting roles. Like I've had to set boundaries where
I
you know
know. Proud of you.
um, you kind of have to just believe in yourself and say like, yeah, this role is not for me. And even though at a point where I think like more acting work would really kind of help me get my career to where I want to get it. If a role is not right or I'm not comfortable with it, like I don't care how much it pays, I'll just say no. I'll be like, yeah, I don't think it's for me. So,
Yeah, and honestly, I think that porn film will get made without you anyway, and it probably
oh,
won't do that well.
you know what? We shall see. And I I have my A to the Ron up
I
there.
don't think it's worth shaving your ass for.
Dang it, dang it, dang it. I was gonna say A to the Ron. That's my porn name.
No, 8 of the rod
Oh yeah, A to the Rod.
for
Okay,
you.
yeah, yeah.
um
Mm,
so one of, one of the things I was this because this has been a I think we were talking pre-show, anybody was in, we were talking about meltdowns.
mhm.
And this has been a meltdown week for us, for me, big time. You've had a rough week as well. And I was listening on the radio, and something that a DJ, she must have been young or stupid. Um, she was talking about one of the rock bands, and she was playing one of their songs. I want to say it was, oh God, I can't remember the band, but she was saying, she played the song, and she's like, this guy just posted a picture on Instagram out camping, making bacon and eggs. And yeah, that's all fine and good, but when are we going to get some more music? And I felt this really strong urge to stab her in the face when I heard that.
Wow.
Because this, yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you why. because this has been a tough year, and a lot of artists have like what I want to call COVID brain.
Mhm.
And if anybody has even just this much awareness,
Mhm.
they know that being out in nature is a way to regenerate your creativity.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I wanted to like call in and say, what do you think he's doing? He's probably trying by doing this, by detaching and separating and
Mhm.
getting out there.
Yeah.
But that kind of brings us to meltdowns. And a friend of mine brought something up, and I was also reading something about it, and I myself have had my own meltdowns this week. And the article I'm reading is called "The Art of a Good Meltdown." So it's talking about how people are under stress from every front right now, and we are having more meltdowns than ever. And sometimes it's just that one little thing that makes you throw something across the room or crunch something up, and that's technically considered a meltdown.
Mm.
And there is a very positive aspect to having them. It releases a lot of pressure. Um, the the key is to do it in a way that's beneficial and okay. So the things that they say to do is, first off, accept it and don't judge yourself. So the meltdown lets you release the tension and frees up energy that was spent kind of suppressing your emotions. And then know what you need. Some people prefer to be left alone when they lose control. Others need to be with their friends and they need a hug or to talk it out. So there's that.
Mm.
And you should also model a good meltdown. Obviously, you don't want to kick the dog or punch through a wall. These things are going to make it obvious.
Mm.
These things are not constructive.
Especially
You
don't
don't
kick
want
the
to,
dog.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't want
And
to
by the
scream at
way,
your kids.
what's that? Go ahead. I was just saying, no, I apologize if I'm like this. I have a fur baby here, so we're
Oh,
just hanging out. He's a giant golden, and I'm
yeah.
just glad he's laying down right now because if he jumps up, stuff will go everywhere. And he's very affectionate, so that's why I've been like that. I've been paying attention. Sorry,
Oh, we should say hi to him.
he's sleeping right now, and trust me, that's a good thing.
But yeah, to have an idea of your ideal meltdown that would not involve those things. You also might want to try an alternate rebellion. So when we lose control, we often want to rebel, and we see a lot of that with outbursts on Facebook and people just going the other way just because, or challenging people. They just like to argue. Um, so instead of quitting your job or telling your mother-in-law off, you might want to do something that asserts control in your life. So you might want to turn off your phone for a while and go do something that you really, really enjoy. Go for a walk, do a workout, go knock something off your bucket list. Like for me, last week I went out and did a tree obstacle course. Um,
How'd that
I'm
go?
I'm still kind of bruised up from it a little bit. I've got a hematoma, like, but I don't know if you can. There's a few on there, but it was good. It was really good. It was getting out in nature and conquering my fear and getting up in the trees. It was good. And then the last part is calm yourself. Explore the meaning of your meltdown and then move on. Like breathe, do your breathing, figure out what it was that got you to that point, and just try and figure it all out, and then forgive yourself and move on. So I don't know if any of that is helpful, but
I think it
it's
is.
better to allow it to happen and then do it constructively than not. And I apologize for the noise in the background. My refrigerator fan is
I can't
up.
even hear it.
Oh really? I can hear it.
No.
Yeah, it's
Um,
acting up on me.
no. Um,
So go ahead.
no, I love that. I think that's great, and I think the thing that stood out to me most is forgive yourself. For a
Yeah.
lot of times, and I don't know if we've talked about this on the show before. We've had a couple episodes under our belt now. Like we're doing a few of these.
Yeah.
Um, so to me, right, we're not our emotions. Our emotions are something that we feel, right?
Hmm.
Like we're not our cars. Our cars are something that we drive. You know what I mean? Like it's a very I like in a way what helps me. and I don't know if this is going to work for everybody, but I objectify my emotions a lot. In terms of, okay, this is what this is. This is something that I'm feeling right now due to these circumstances, whatever they are. However, that is not who I am. That is not me. You know, it's funny when someone, they talk about the like, you've heard of the I am meditations.
Yeah.
Like, I am abundance. I do believe that there's some power to that. I'm not going to get down the whole spiritual rabbit hole, but like when you say I
Well, we
am,
are later.
yes, we are. You say like I am, right? It's I am this, like I am whatever. You are making a statement, right?
Mhm.
So I don't like to be I am angry. Like, no. I like, no, I'm feeling pretty pissed off. I'm feeling pretty angry. I never like to say I am that, like, if I am feeling this way, which is simply a true statement, versus
Mhm.
how you are feeling, as opposed to like declaring you are with every fiber of your being angry. That's like that's a kind of a slippery slope in my opinion. And so again, me, when I objectify my emotions, because look, we'd all like to be happy all the time. But if the truth is, if we were happy all the time, we would not know what happiness is, because there would be no alternative to happiness. And in a sense, we would be trapped. So there's freedom in our emotions. There's when we get upset, right? Anytime we get upset, we have the freedom to choose our reactions. The only thing in this world, in my opinion, that we are truly, truly, fully in control of is our thoughts and our actions. So
Yeah.
external circumstance happens, you get upset. You are in control as to how you react to that. To me, I pause. I like, okay, I literally just take a couple seconds and I remove myself, whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, because in doing that, in pausing, you are making the choice. And I know it doesn't seem like much, but if you're going down the road of being upset, right? It's like the domino effect. You're pissed off at this and that. But he says, oh, wait a minute. No, the very choice to pause is a declaration that I'm not going to give in to this emotion right now and let it rule me. It's
Like,
okay to feel it,
yeah.
but let's pause and let's, be the cause, not the effect, right? So when life, right, when emotions happen in life, you can be the cause of the outcome, meaning having it a positive outcome, knowing how to have a meltdown, which April just walked us through and recommended a wonderful book or an article. Um, or just kind of like letting that emotion dictate your day, and you get out of bed, you stub your toe, and it's downhill from there. um but again, you pause, and it's almost like hitting the reset button on the old school. Remember
The
the
first one was
Nintendo?
acceptance. I've accepted that I've stubbed my motherfucking toe.
Yeah, okay, nothing you can do about
I'm
it.
gonna move on.
Yeah, yeah. And then and sometimes it is that simple, just mentally being in control of how you think, right? And
Yeah.
we can't control all of our thoughts. It's impossible. We get so many thoughts a day, right? And if I'm not going to think this negative thought, if I tell you all to all right, whatever you do in the next 5 seconds, do not think of pushing a red button. Well, what did y'all do, right? Exactly. So it happens, but it's on a deeper level than that, like our conscious
So I
choice.
want you to not think about the elephant.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, so it's just making the conscious choice and taking a little bit more control. And again, I think we're all works in progress. We can all choose to try to start dealing with it that way.
I agree. And I have two more thoughts on that. That's why a lot of people are proponents of saying, instead of I am bipolar, I have bipolar disorder, for that exact reason, because they don't
Yeah.
want to be seen as that's who they are. It's just a part of who they are,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, exactly.
instead of, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So to the meltdown thing, and I've had multiple friends tell me about this. This must be going on like crazy. Part of the issue right now, it seems to be, uh, is micromanaging. There's a lot of micromanaging going on in the workplace. So I don't know what the shift happened with COVID, but it seems like for the people who are working, whether it's home or on the front line, and this seems to be more frontline of a situation where the bosses are at home and then they're not experiencing what's really going on, in the whatever, wherever the people are. people are dealing with like 20 emails a day from their bosses, do this, do that, do this, do that. And they're getting peppered while they're having to answer phones and customers and this and that and that and corral workers. And um, they're having a really hard time dealing with bosses who are not, or management who are not, quite honestly, very good at managing.
Mm.
Um, and maybe shouldn't be there. So whether it's a nepotism thing where they're in there because their father owns the company, or they're just there and they're sitting at home managing from afar, and somebody's working the front desk and this person doesn't have any idea what's going on. This seems to be a situation where it's plaguing people, and it's getting a lot worse, to the point where people are so miserable they want to quit their jobs. And I mean, like, I'm hearing this from all my friends. I mean, if you're not in this situation, you're
Mm.
truly, truly blessed. And
Wow.
our bar is so low right now that we are supposed to be grateful that we just have a job and we're healthy. Like, if you just have those bare minimum things, you're supposed to be happy. And even if those two things are really bad things, even if you are on salary and plagued by incessant bullshit and calls at all hours of the day, like my friend is. Like, she gets texts and calls all hours, 7 days a week, nighttime, morning time, daytime.
Mm.
She can't shut down. There's no shutdown. There's no shut off. There's no regeneration. There's no work life balance. I mean, work life balance is kind of a misnomer anyway, but people try, they try.
Mhm.
And I think this is part of what's leading to those meltdowns too. People
Mm.
are so whacked out of balance. It's not good. It's not good.
Mhm.
It's not good.
Wow.
And this is if you are a manager or a boss and you're doing this, you need to stop, man. It's like, you need to stop. You need to think. You need to put
Yeah.
yourself in your workers' shoes. You need to
Mm.
back off. You need to let people work and do their job, and not be a pester.
Wow.
I don't know.
That's,
I'm so grateful I work for myself.
but it's
I would not.
crazy.
I wouldn't last. I mean, like, would not. No, 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 no.
It's just crazy how, like, with COVID, how the dynamics, like, everything changed. Like, you like that, I would have never
Yeah.
even thought to, like, put in my mind that, oh, maybe this is it. That's so crazy. And you said it's across the board, which is interesting because I guess if you're not physically there, you just need to make sure things
Hmm.
need to get done, and you're probably that's why the 20. But that's God,
And people are trapped because of health insurance. Like,
yeah.
they can't go. They can't afford Cobra. Like, in
Mhm.
this country, it's ridiculous that
Mhm.
how trapped you are with your health insurance and your benefits. It doesn't allow
Mhm.
you to leave. And if you do leave, you have to pay like 3 and 4 times the amount for Cobra that you get for a
Mhm.
couple of months to span you until you get another job, which your insurance doesn't kick in for what, 6 months till, you know what I mean? It's a
Crazy.
bullshit system. They
Yeah,
keep you.
crazy.
It's really an enslaving system.
Yeah.
That is another reason to get universal. There is a business reason to get universal health care in this
Mhm.
country, and that's one of them. Freedom to move about as you please. So if
Absolutely.
you are unhappy with your work, you can leave. You can
Mhm.
look for another job and not worry about it.
Mhm.
You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about losing your health insurance. You don't have to worry about staying at a job you hate because your daughter is a type 1 diabetic and you have to keep her on insulin and it's
Yeah.
affordable. Like, this is there's a
God,
business
so
reason to
true.
do this.
So true.
Yeah. A lot of people don't
Wow.
think about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a thing, and
Mhm.
a lot of people are working with fewer workers, more hours. They're having
Mhm.
to take on, companies have cut back,
Mhm.
and they're forcing their employees to work more hours.
Mhm.
So working 55 hours a week is not uncommon now.
Crazy. Yeah.
So it's rough. So
Mhm.
there's that. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, meltdowns are perfectly acceptable. So
No,
go
agreed.
ahead,
I
go
mean,
ahead, go ahead and do it.
because you said let off some steam. Just don't do it where you hurt yourself or someone else. That's all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all we're doing is like don't again. There's so many examples of awful meltdowns. We don't have to go there, but know yourself, know thyself, as people
Yeah.
say. Much smarter people than me. and then go from there. Do what works for you and channel it into a positive way, or
Yeah.
just think of a positive outlet to relieve that pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's it. That was just what I wanted to bring up for this week. I know we had a couple of we put out there that we wanted to do a Q&A with the fans.
Yeah.
And I want to do another one of these too, but I think we actually got some questions, didn't we? Hi,
Wow,
Colin.
we're gaining momentum.
What's up,
Yeah.
going? What's up, guys? So yes, we did
Seed
get some
money.
questions. Thank you, Aaron. We actually have a couple in the chat. While you guys were talking, you guys briefly talked about Aaron doing porn, and the chat came up with some great porn names for Aaron, possibly. Um,
Well,
Aaron,
let's hear 'em. Let's hear 'em.
Let's hear
Aaron, Winona gave us the best one. Damien Well Endowed.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
That's the
I'm gonna
winner.
have to go with that one. Thank you, Winona.
And we had erection endowed, a little play on the Aron
Yep.
erection.
Yep.
Those are a couple of ones that were in
Eight
the
to
chat.
direction. Okay. Yeah.
Erection.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get to this
Or
Q&A.
just A/Rection is my name. Like,
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yes,
Starring
go.
Erection.
oh my God! Wow, that's wow.
We're working it out here on the show. So our first question comes from Winona. Do either of you have any hidden talents or guilty pleasures that most people may not know about?
Is it
God,
Winona
I'm
or
going that
Winona?
rabbit hole.
Hey, go ahead.
I can play the
Hidden
spoons.
talents. Huh?
I can play the spoons.
You can play the spoons?
Yes, but I have to be
Really?
feeling no pain, as they say. I have to be a couple glasses of bourbon in, and then I just loosen up and play the
Okay,
spoons.
no, we should answer this for each other because I can't think. Okay, so Aaron's hidden talent is that he's quite the artist at times.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of erection,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he joyously. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Is it okay?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Aaron, his Aaron's inner child has remained 12 years old,
Mhm.
and he will draw a dick on anything. He even did it on our first poster. There was a dick around our heads.
Yeah, well, it was like because people were saying, "Oh, I see that you made it like your outline looks like an A," and I'm going, "I don't see that at all. Like, I don't see what you're talking about that the outline looks like an A." But I went, you know what? Like you can. So my friends and I, and this goes back to the FCW days.
Mhm.
What's the movie? Was it God? It wasn't Orange County with Jack Black? I don't think. Um, I forgot the movie, but where they would draw essentially the male
Super
genitalia
bad.
on everything.
It was super
What was
bad.
it?
Super bad. Yeah,
Super
super
bad.
bad. So while we were in developmental, there was a select group of us, and by select group, I mean mostly everyone. We would go in each other's notebooks when we weren't looking, and we would that's how we would kind of like leave our. It was a game. It was a game, and
Which he has still figured out how to do, but now he does it through various apps on his iPhone.
there's always a way because um,
There's always a
but-
way to draw a genital.
yeah. So it's just that my friends and I, it's still something that will happen from time to time. And again, with technology improving, I can assure you with the group of friends that I have that there's always a new way. Someone's always finding a new way to get someone because we can't be around each other, due to distance and COVID. But yeah, like the notebooking, as we would call it, is still there. It's still alive and well. Mhm.
All right, then what would my hidden talent be?
You can, man, you're pretty fearless. I would say you will try some stuff like the zip lining. That's cool. Hidden. Well, I mean, I'd say the soap making, which is great.
Yeah, that's
Um,
known.
yeah, I'm trying to think of a hidden talent.
Okay,
You're a
there.
chicken whisperer,
I'm a
but
chicken
people know that. Um,
I feel like I'm an amateur therapist.
yeah, you are. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
Kind
absolutely.
of.
Yeah, yeah. I would say
Okay,
that.
okay. Here's one.
I would
the
say that.
psychic thing probably.
Yes,
I don't
that is
talk
true.
about
Yeah,
that much.
you can call stuff like that's 100%. It is scary, ladies and gentlemen. Like she'll get like a premonition, and she'll say something like, "What? Huh?" And then a week later, a day later, I'm calling. Yep, you were right on that.
Yeah, stuff just okay, yeah, I don't talk about that very much, but I have always, God, ever since I was a kid, had this weird ability to just see things or know things. They just I see them before they happen, or I know them. I just know them. I can feel them, and it's people think it's crazy. Especially, I'll say it, and people are like, "Oh, you're just that's some crazy shit right there." And it happens, and it got to where I was so tired of being disbelieved. I would write everything down and date it or send it to my friends. I said, "Oh, this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, this is going to happen." And half of them be like, "All right," and the other ones are like, okay." The ones that know me. Like, remember in January, I told you what was going to happen with COVID.
Absolutely. Nope.
I wrote everything out. This is going to happen, and it's going to
100%.
impact us really, really hard. And get prepared, get
And you're
stocked
not a
up.
pessimist. Like you're not an alarmist. You're not a
No,
pessimist. But
no,
you're
I'm
like,
a
yeah, this is
realist.
going to be different. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I said, get prepared, and in April, I told you there's going to be a shortage of everything, so
Hmm.
get ready for that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, different things. I saw my parents get into a motorcycle accident before it happened. On the road, I see accidents before they happen. I'll see it right before it happens, and it's
It's like having a
beneficial.
Waze that's 5 minutes ahead of time.
Yeah. I have been accused by my exes always of going through their phones because I know what's going on, um, without having to. Um, yeah,
Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Sorry. Alarm went off. Sorry.
that's
Um,
okay.
no, that's yeah, that is a real thing. I wouldn't think
Yeah,
to say that, but yeah.
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 I didn't think about it either because I was trying to think. I'm like, what is it that I can do that I don't really talk about that benefits
Hmm.
me? So
Hmm.
there's that, or benefits the
Hmm.
people around me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see patterns too, and I look at that's part of it too. I think when I look at
Mhm.
the current events, I don't know how this works, but when I look at things, stuff falls into alignment for me, and I can see where it's heading,
Hmm.
and I'm nearly 100% correct.
Wow.
That's why when I talk about these things,
Hmm.
I feel confident in talking about things that haven't happened yet because I know that this is where we're going when we talk about current events and things.
I think it's safe to say that your hidden talent is way cooler than mine and way more useful than mine.
I don't know, man. Drawing dicks
Yeah.
around things is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't do it all the time to clarify. This was in the past, but hey, if you're good at something, if you're good, you're good.
Well, that could feed perfectly into the next question, guys. We have from the chat, which positive qualities do you value most in a person?
Mm. April, you want to go first?
Okay,
Over to you.
Alexa. No, you go ahead. We're going. You go. I go.
So positive qualities, um, optimism, and without a doubt, a sense of humor.
Yeah. I'll. I don't know about optimism so much, but the ability to see the good in the situations.
Mm.
I like a realistic, like not a blind optimism, not like
Optimism
but
tempered with reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
So humor in life is essential because life can be shit, and you have to be able to laugh through it. And I will add brutal honesty and loyalty.
Mhm.
Um, that's the one thing that all my friends have, and I think my ex-boyfriends too. That's why I'm able to maintain my friendships with them because I might not always like what they have to say, but I respect them for being honest. So
Mhm.
it's hard to be honest. People like to be lied to. They like a
Mhm.
sugarcoating. They like to hear what they want to hear. I really like honesty.
Mhm.
So yeah, those are really valuable qualities.
Very cool.
So
All right. And this next question, he's actually in the chat. Chris Porter how did the right here? How did the Pope, the main head of Christianity and Catholic, end up with his throne in the very same country that crucified Jesus in the first place? Thank you for your question, Chris.
Yes, thank you, Chris. So a couple things about that statement. And Colin, would you mind just putting the graphic up on so the question?
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
when you said the main head of Christianity, no, I think the main head of Christianity would be Christ, but the Pope is considered the vicar of Christ and Christ's representative on earth. So Christians follow Christ, the Pope, and I'm assuming you're referring to the main head in the temporal sense, which, if that's the case, but he is not the main head of Christianity. He is head. The Pope is called the Bishop of Rome. He is head of the Roman Catholic Church, not of Christianity. Baptists, the Orthodox Church, even, they do not
Methodists,
acknowledge,
they don't acknowledge it.
yeah, his infallibility, because when the Pope speaks, he is infallible. When he is on his throne, he's infallible. In
Yeah.
other words, what he says goes.
Matter of fact, let me interject right there. Protestantism happened to protest the Vatican having so much control. So they were Christians who wanted to remain Christian but not have Vatican control of their Christianity. So
Mhm,
the Baptists and
mhm,
evangelicals and Methodists
mhm,
and all of the people under that
mhm,
are Protestants. They're still
mhm,
Christian. They still follow Christ's teaching. Go.
mhm. And so as far as in the same country that crucified, no, the country, Christ's crucifixion, it was, obviously he was blasphemy, supposedly being blasphemed, and this all took place in Jerusalem. So although it was under Roman control, it'd be the equivalent to a federal or state level, right? Like to where he was going against, um, the law of the Torah, and you had the Pharisees and Sadducees plotting against him. So they went to Pontius Pilate, who was kind of the representative or the Roman representative in that area, and they said, "Hey, I mean, it was a political move." Um, so again, Jerusalem is where Christ was crucified at Golgotha, place of the skull. There's way. I'm not going to get into that, but so no, Rome, when the church was established, and the Bible wasn't established. So to have, when you're referring to Christianity and Catholicism, like these all stem from the Bible. So you have the Old Testament, which is, what the Jewish faith follows, then
Jewish.
the New Testament, which are the four Gospels, and then the letters. And then you also have your Psalms and excuse me, everything like that in there, but that's part of the old. So sorry, I'm getting off track here. What happened was when they said, okay, you know what, we're going to make, it was Emperor Constantine said, we're going to make Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire. So this is 300 years after Jesus was crucified. And they said, all right, we're going to put this book together, and this is what we're going to follow, and that's it. So then it would just make sense that the head of whoever they were going to follow, like the leader, the Bishop of Rome, would be located in Rome. And it's because, again, at the time, that it was like Washington D.C. That's where it all happens. That's kind of where your empire is run. So if you're going to have the official religion of the empire, have it located so that the Pope and the Emperor can talk to each other when need be, and it's more of convenience. But that's where the term that Roman Catholic comes from, as opposed to, again, we have the Orthodox Christians, which that was, I believe, Constantinople, like um, it was west of Rome. So again, it's way too much to get into, but I hope that answers your question. And again, the Pope. So if we're referring to Pope Francis, like, yes, he or none of his ancestors, I don't think, are the ones that actually crucified Christ. They would have been Roman soldiers. And so again, today, as society happens, it's like holding people accountable for things that happened thousands of years ago. If that's the way that question was meant, I mean, that's just, in my opinion, not it's really not valid. But I'm not saying the question was or wasn't asked that way. So I hope it does clear things up, and I hope it answers some of it. And if not, hit us up again, and I'd be happy to clarify anything.
All right, guys. Well, we got a two-parter here. One question is for April. This is from Jay Reezyman in the chat. What
Mhm.
is the hardest part of cosplay? And then for Aron, what is the hardest part of acting? I'll leave that
Oh,
up there for you guys to kind of read.
what's up? The hardest part is how uncomfortable it is and how long it takes to get in and out of some of the costumes. Without a doubt, like the corsets,
Mhm,
so
mhm,
or the cat suits that don't have like a zipper at the bottom when you have to go pee, or trying to get in and out of that stuff when you live alone. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. So there you go.
Mm. Yeah, acting, just finding good representation that that number
Yeah.
one believes in you, number two understands what you're trying to do, and will get you there the best way possible. So it's a lot of trust in your managers, your agents, and things like that. And you just got to find the right fit. To me, the acting part's easy. You know, once you're on set, everything's going. Who cares? Just do it. So yeah, for me, it's been far more a matter of just business than actual performance. So I mean that's just been my experience though, because it's funny, like with wrestling, we don't have anything. We can just kind of go out there and do it. And
Mhm.
when you audition, everyone's going to give you their take, right? So I don't sweat that. Like I just know if what I did felt good, and that's all I can do. So I kind of just leave it at that. And sometimes we'll be looking for someone with red hair, with a big beard. You never know. But like casting can be very, very just like if a casting director has something in their mind that like this is what I want the role to look like. It's no reflection on the read. It's just a reflection sometimes aesthetically. And at the same time, if you do a read and it sucks because you can feel it, in my opinion, like when you just, oh God, that was not my best work. You got to be honest there. But no, at the end of the day, it's just like the red light's on, just go do it and shut up.
All right. Well, our last one here. So I was thinking, even meeting people once or twice can make an impact on them, good or bad, depending on the experience. But how would you like to be remembered? And this is from one of our patrons,
Yeah,
Fred
hey
Temple.
Fred, I'm gonna touch my hair just to piss you off, even though it looks fabulous. He's the one that teases me about doing this all the time. You're clicking. I'm gonna beat you. Put your fucking
What
pen down.
you you were touching your hair so I can click.
Oh,
That's funny.
okay,
You
fair
have
enough.
the hair
Fair
so
enough.
that's
Fair enough. Okay, I'll answer that one. I would like to be remembered as an adventurer and someone who was ahead of their time and kicked down doors.
very cool.
No.
Um, I'd have to say, and it's funny, I've never really thought about this. I would rather just I mean, I guess I'd be want to be remembered for just someone that genuinely tried to always do the right thing and make the right decision, even when it wasn't easy. Even like when you knew the road was going to be hard and you made that decision or whatever decision it was because it was the right thing to do. I guess that's what I'll say.
Yeah. Well, we make the best decisions we can with the information we have at the
Mhm.
time. Isn't that what somebody smarter than me said once?
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you.
That'd be you.
I'm not smarter than you though.
Well, you have your days.
I know I just have like flashes of like yeah, it'll just come to me and then goes. Like it's just not a consistent. We're trying to get consistently brilliant. We need, you know,
We're works in progress always.
yes.
We're works in progress.
Hmm.
So I do actually have one more I'm going to slide in here. It's from a
Sweet.
person who's been chatting all day in the chat, MV1973. April, this one's going to be more towards you, but it's about your handling bipolar. What do you feel, in your view, is the hardest challenge of being bipolar? Do you treat your bipolar medication or self acknowledgement and knowing how to handle it? I lived with a mother, ex wife at the same time, and it was very hard.
Oh God, that's such a complicated, multi-tiered, long question. If we're able to go a few minutes, and I also wanted to bring something up before we go. I'll answer it. Okay. Whew. I was not I've always known there's something wrong with me. Probably since I was 12. I always knew that something was up. I was not diagnosed until one of my therapists suggested it. So I want to say it first came up in late 30s, maybe I was 40. So technically it's only been a year. Uh, kidding, I'm kidding. Uh,
Yeah.
it's really hard when you're only 41.
You're
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
yeah. I Let's see, the hardest part. There are so many levels to that. The hardest part for me has been everything. It was having to get on the medications because I was very much a naturalist. My ex-husband threatened me with divorce and said, if you don't get medicated, we're getting divorced. In the end, that ended up being really good for me, but I really didn't appreciate it at the time. But I was having so many, I'm a rapid cycler, um, bipolar 2, and I was having so many manic episodes. It turns out that the longer you go, the more it scars your brain, the more susceptible you are to
Mm.
having more and more issues. And that's why it gets worse for people when they get older. My father had it. It's genetic. Um, and I lived with him. And it's a weird thing when you love someone who's bipolar. But I can tell you that the house was like walking on eggshells. You never knew what was coming. And it was a violent alcoholic household
Mm.
that I could write an entire book about. I can't tell you how many stories I could tell you about that. Being punched in the face, having holes in the wall. There was one time that my father sat my stepmom and I down in the dining room together and forced us to watch him play Russian roulette. So I was 16. Um, and he loaded a bullet into a handgun and spun it and pointed it at his head and had us watch him do that. Um, and I realized that I did not want to be him. So I acquiesced and got on the medications. I also have chosen not to have children for this exact reason, because the medications are not an exact science and it's still really hard and I still have my swings, even though I'm pretty stable. And it's weird when you're stabilized like I am, I almost feel I'm more NT or normal than people who aren't dealing with a mental
Mm.
disorder. You still have your days, but for the most part, I look around, especially during COVID, I looked around, I'm just like, oh my God, the world's going crazy. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
Mm.
But because it's not an exact science, I personally would not, with a 50-50 chance of passing it on and a really high suicide rate, like this mental disorder has the highest suicide rate of all of them. I would not risk having a kid and putting them through that. It's too difficult. Plus, my father cursed me and said, "I hope you have a child just like you." So I'm like, "Ha,
Well,
take that, Dad. I didn't have any." So break
that
that
wouldn't be a
cycle.
curse; it'd be a blessing. No, and
um,
how brave of you, though, to do that, April. How brave of you, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but it's that's very very admirable, and that's hats off to the person that you are.
Thank you. But I think the really, really, really on a personal level, really the hardest part of this is it affects my personal relationships a lot.
Mhm.
It affects everything, my friendships, how I can work. Some days I'm good with work, other days I'm not. Sometimes it affects my perception of reality, combined with somewhat being psychic and somewhat being crazy. I don't always know what's real and what's not. So I find myself sitting there going, I can't deal with people today because I don't know what the real story is.
Mm.
So I just need to be away from everybody or check in with my friends and go, this is how I feel and this is how I'm seeing it. I don't even, is this a realistic view on things?
Mhm.
Because your mind fucks with you and
Mhm.
it's hard to
Mhm.
trust it sometimes, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you're in a romantic relationship with somebody, you're even more susceptible to that, um, if it's not a stable relationship. Um, so when you are an unstable person, the stability matters. And it's
Mhm.
sometimes hard to get there when you don't have a stable mentality.
Mhm.
And everyone says they're okay with bipolar disorder until they see it.
Mhm.
Now,
Mm.
once they see it, it's a whole different story. You know,
Yeah.
it's different. So and then you know that. So you get sort of scarred and afraid to get into a relationship knowing that people say one thing and do another because you want to invest and you want to
Mhm. Yeah.
be with somebody, and then you realize that this person's going to hightail it the minute they see
Yeah.
what you really are and who you really are. So, and then last but not least, it affects every decision you make. So I get fed up and frustrated and exhausted very easily. I also have cardio respiratory problems, which is common with a lot of mental disorders. I've a lot of lung issues and breathing issues, which I don't know why that's linked, but it is. So it's like the spoon theory. You have to figure out your day and see what you have available as far as energy to deal with things. Like, do I
Mhm.
feel like making this call back? How much can I deal with email? This is why I'm really bad with email. People tire me out.
Mm.
So going through email, I'm just like, God, I don't want to deal with this. If I'm going to get anything done today, I have to avoid messages and
Yeah.
stuff. So there you go. That is a tip of the iceberg
Mhm.
answer to a complex question.
Mhm.
Thanks for asking it.
Well, that's it for the Q&A. Thank you guys for sending in your questions and posting on Patreon, tweeting at us and everything. So we'll do this again. It seems like you guys had fun doing that. We got to know
Yeah.
some
Oh
things
yeah.
about you guys.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna go back to the cave that you guys have me in.
All
So
right.
I'll be
All
right.
right. So yeah, it looks like we've made it through another show.
We have, and I actually, if we can go just a couple more minutes, I wanted to say a couple of things, if that's all right.
Please.
Are
Please.
we only doing the one show today, right?
Yeah.
Is that it? We're not doing two?
Yeah. Yeah. We're doing the one show, so we can head into.
We'll do just the one show today. That's totally fine.
Okay. Then give me a couple extra minutes. So first off, I would like to say thank you very much to the fans who are here and the fans who have been with me. I have started doing all of this a long time ago, like in the 90s, and there are people that have still been here. So through all of it, through every stage show I've done since when I started burlesque to now. And you guys really just mean a lot to me, whether I just met you this week or back then. So I want to say thank you so much for being here. Like, I really mean that. So that was one of the things I realized I had not said. And thank you for supporting our show. This venture kind of means a lot to me. It's something that I look forward to doing every week. And this is a 180-degree turn, but just real quick, so I don't because we're only doing the one. I'll probably touch on it again next week, but we were talking about spirituality earlier, and there was a guy, Osho. There we go, Osho,
Mm.
who was. Are you familiar with him?
Mm.
Okay,
Yes.
so he was kind of crucified as being a cult leader, and Netflix did a really unflattering documentary about him, and I don't feel that was accurate. He was a really unique thinker, very complex person, and he drew from every religion and nature and had his own opinions. So I just want to read a couple of things to you to think about, um, because I think they're really interesting and they might give a different opinion on things. Just something we can touch on again next week. So here's one. Very rarely does a person want to be happy, notwithstanding what they go on saying. Very rarely is a person ready to be happy. People have so much investment in their misery. They love to be unhappy. In fact, they are happy being unhappy. And I find
Wow.
that to be accurate. Yeah. Here's another
Wow.
one. Your memory is not you. You are consciousness. Memory is content. But memory is the whole life energy of the ego. Just things to think about.
Think about that for an afternoon.
Yeah, here's one more. The crowd is not pulling you. You are being pulled, not by someone else, but by your own unconscious conditioning. So I don't
Mm.
think this person was a cult leader. I think he said some really honest, harsh
Mm.
things that people didn't like to hear on a different level.
Mhm.
and it freaked people out. And there are several books that he's written, and some of it conflicts, but so do things in the Bible. So does everything. I think you can get a lot out of it. I like reading his stuff.
Yeah.
So
And
I find that to be helpful.
very cool.
So
Very,
that's
very cool.
Osho. Keep an open mind.
Yeah.
So
Not the A show, the O show.
yeah, exactly, Osho.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had some other things to talk about that we will hit on next week. Maybe we'll go more into depth with that. Thank you so much for being a part of our show today. We really appreciate it. Thank you for being a part of our show always. It's nice to hear from you guys live too. And you know, until next week, right?
Absolutely. No, and you know what April says, yeah, she speaks for both of us. So much appreciation for you guys hanging out. I mean, typing in questions that it's really cool. And again, if you like the show, please continue to subscribe and tell a friend. And if you don't, tell an enemy. Let's keep this thing growing and going.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one.